Iran just crossed the line again in the Strait of Hormuz. And if you think this stays over there, you're wrong. This is the kind of thing that spikes gas prices and drags America back to a kinetic campaign over the Strait of Hormuz. So I'm going to show you exactly what Iran did, why Trump's response is already locked in, and the one move that decides whether this explodes or it ends fast. Article here coming out of the BBC, because here's what Tehran doesn't seem to understand. They put drones in the air over the most important waterway on Earth again, and they again started targeting cargo ships, not warships, cargo vessels, a tanker, civilian crews. And they were warned specifically, do not touch the ships. There's supposed to be an MOU in place, and, we will see how far that goes, but they did it anyway. That wasn't a power move. That was a line, and they stepped over it in front of the one president who does not bluff, because the U.S. already hit back once. Friday night, American forces struck Iranian targets, and Central Command said it flat out. Iran violated the ceasefire. That was the warning. Iran kept going anyway. And so now it's Trump's move. The same man who told Iranian officials to their face they won't even make it back to their own country if they pushed it. The same man who posted publicly that the next response hits very hard again, just like last week, only harder. So the only question left is how hard and when will more responses happen? And once you see why Iran hit ships where they did, you'll realize how badly they miscalculated. So Trump is accusing Iran of breaking the ceasefire. And I don't know how many of you believe that that's what happened, but when they start targeting cargo ships, to me, that is violating a ceasefire. The BBC is reporting this. We know how the Prime Minister of Britain feels about helping Americans in the Middle East. We know what he wants from the Middle East, which is cheap oil. Sadly, it's not going to happen without some of their help. So let's back up and look at what Iran actually did, because the details are worse than the headline. It started in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, if you don't know why that name matters, here it is. The strait is a narrow channel of water, the mouth of the Persian Gulf, barely 20 miles wide. It's about 4 miles wide at its choke point of where the shipping comes in and out. And somewhere around a fifth of the world's oil moves through it every single day. Tankers, cargo ships, billions of dollars in trade squeeze through a gap you can see across. And when Iran, the IRGC, goes back to targeting these ships, something's got to happen. It is without exaggeration one of the most important stretches of water on the planet. And that is exactly where Iran decided to start firing again. A one-way attack drone slammed into the upper deck of a cargo ship. They called it the Ever Lovely. It was a Singapore-flagged civilian ship. Now, we've got reports coming out of Fox News here this morning as well. Trey Yingst is reporting that Iran struck the oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, caused damage, no casualties. What's this going to do? It's going to raise the awareness. It's going to raise the insurance level. It's going to raise the threat level there, which is not good for you and I, because we want cheaper fuel. We want safe passage for these sailors, for these mariners that are going in and out of there. Central Command says American forces knocked 3 more drones out of the sky before they could do more damage. And all it's going to take is one of these ships to be sunk in the strait, and it's going to shut down everything for a long time. I've got some footage here. So here is the IR footage of the response from the United States forces. I want you to watch this. This is precision calculation of exactly what they want to do. This is how we respond whenever threats are sent. This is a quid pro quo. You attack ships, we're going to launch this back. There is this 60-day memorandum of understanding. I believe Iran just violated this by attacking these ships, and now the United States responds in kind. So I don't know if we can ever get any peace with these zealots. I don't know if at what point that these other surrounding countries start to realize that Iran is the problem. But this is happening in real time right now. We've got more information coming out now. Iran has attacked another large tanker this morning in the Strait of Hormuz with drones. that were also fired towards Bahrain in response to the U.S. strikes yesterday. So we're getting back to a full kinetic campaign. And it sounds like the IRGC really doesn't want a deal, because if they did, there would not be this back and forth. The bridge was damaged, the crew was shaken, but they're alive. And here's the part that makes this so reckless. None of this happened in a war. This happened in a ceasefire. Both sides had signed an agreement. There were negotiators sitting in Switzerland right then trying to turn that into a permanent deal. It doesn't seem like we're going to get to a permanent deal without more, I would say, warheads on foreheads. Iran looked at all of that, the ceasefire, the talks, the deal on the table, and they fired anyway. So the United States hit back. I believe that Iran crossed the line. I think this is Saturday morning here in the United States. It'll be Saturday evening, Saturday night in Iran right now. And Trump's response is going to come, because we can't allow this to continue. The Vice President of the United States just came out, made a statement and put a post out. Fox News is reporting this. Vice President Vance issues a stark warning to Iran, saying further attacks will be met with force. Iran signed a ceasefire agreement. We have honored it. If they have disagreements about how the memorandum of understanding, the MOU, is being applied, they can pick up the phone. But violence will be met with violence. And that seems to be the only thing the Iranians understand, is intimidation and firepower. Fox News is also coming out. They are releasing more of this footage as well. You can see this. It's the same exact thing. So Iran is wanting to regain or retain administrative control over the Strait of Hormuz. That has already been taken off the table. They are not going to be allowed to charge tolls. There's no deals that are going to be given where they pay or making ships pay for passage there. That is what you call ransom. That is bounty. This is back to the old Barbary pirates days. And really, that's how the United States Marine Corps was formed. So we're not going to allow this. And I don't believe the president's going to allow it. We've got an article coming in this morning out of Just the News, where J.D. Vance details this out even more. This is from John Solomon, Just the News. Vice President J.D. Vance warned last night, violence will be met with violence. We've got U.S. Central Command. They responded here. United States Central Command responded with, U.S. will not allow Iran to attack commercial ships. That tells Arabia, adding that it is working to increase the shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM is following up on the support for commercial ships present in the Strait of Hormuz. We can't allow this to happen. We're doing something that I never thought we would do, which is negotiating with a country that supports terrorism. That can't be allowed to happen. Iran is launching more drones into Bahrain. That is where the United States Navy's Fifth Fleet is at. There are reports that no one was injured, but they're continuing to target exactly what we should not put up with. And I think that that is how far that things have come. It's almost like we're back to square one again. One strike, one answer. Done. It's not done because that was the response to the first provocation. Iran kept going, and that brings us to the move that decides everything. What is President Trump going to do next? There are only really two roads here. On the first road, Iran does what Iran usually does. They fire off a few drones at a U.S. base, at a tanker. They let their state media call it a victory. They save face. And they basically appease all of these mullahs. Then they quietly back down. A response that looks loud, but it's designed to end things. And that's the road that they continuously take. But there's a second road. And that's the one the whole world is watching and waiting for. On that road, Iran tries to close the Strait of Hormuz. They mine it. They swarm it. They try to choke off the fifth of the world's oil to make the West blink. And that is the line that changes everything. Because the moment Iran tries to shut the strait, this stops being tit for tat. The exchanges become a little more violent, and the United States can't walk away from this. No president can let the global economy get held hostage in a 20-mile gap of water. That's the decision sitting probably in the Situation Room on President Trump's desk right now. You let Tehran save a little face and step back, or you reach for the throat and you choke these people out. And everything about how Trump responds depends on which one they choose, because Iran chose to make the president make these decisions. There's more footage here of the actual airstrikes by the U.S. Navy and the Air Force. You can see the location here near Bandar Abbas and in and around. This is the deep water ports where all of these IRGC little boat swarms are at. So you can see here what the response is. There's 5 targets, multiple targets were hit. We're going to go for their infrastructure once again. And it's sad to see, because the real people that are suffering are the people in Iran. The people here in the United States are suffering as well because of oil prices. Some of the price gouging that's been alluded to by the president here with some of these oil companies, because we don't actually get any oil from Iran, but these oil companies, Exxon, BP, Shell, Chevron, they know this, so they can, price gouge. Now, there's more reports here. President Trump is now facing a few questions about the state of the talks with Iran. And at some point, I believe there's no other option except getting back to going kinetic here. More reports coming out of CENTCOM releasing these details of these airstrikes. Things are going to get worse before they get better for Iran. J.D. Vance comes out again. Iran signed a ceasefire agreement. We have honored it. If they have disagreements, pick up the damn phone. That's the problem with Iran right now. They won't do that. Got another report here coming out of Breitbart. U.S. strikes Iran in response to attack. We've got multiple carriers there. We have multiple other ships that are launching aircraft. We still have a MEU of Marines. We basically have a battle group, 2 battle groups there with 2 carriers. I believe it's the Lincoln and the George Bush are still in that area. So I don't know if Iran really knows what they're up against, or if they do, maybe they don't care at this point. Maybe they don't care what they're doing. The Iranian people got a little bit of a taste of freedom. Maybe that's enough to get them to actually engage with their own government. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. There have been reports that we are arming some of their civilian militias. Maybe that's how we get around this. I don't know what's going to happen next. But when you see reports on CBS, BBC, Reuters, I hate to say it, some of these other outlets that normally wouldn't be posting this, Iranian drones target Bahrain. That's where our 5th fleet is. They're putting American men and women, sailors, soldiers, airmen, and Marines in danger by doing this. So let's bring this all the way home. Iran crossed a line they were warned not to cross. They put drones over the most important waterway on Earth, and they hit civilian ships during a ceasefire, during negotiations, while a deal sat on the table. And they did it knowing the United States had already shown just last week that it will strike back directly. That is not strength. That's a miscalculation. And it's the kind of miscalculation that history turns on. Because for decades, I think 47 years, Iran has played the same game. Hit through proxies, Hezbollah, the Yemenis, the Houthi rebels, Hamas. They deny everything. They wait for the West to do nothing. Well, that game is over. The response isn't coming from a proxy or a strongly worded letter from the UN anymore. We know NATO's off the table. It's coming straight from a president who has already proven he will prove the response is coming. It's coming straight from a president who has already proven he'll pull the trigger. So the next few days matter more than almost anything that's happened in that region for years. If Iran steps back, this could cool down. If Iran reaches for that strait, the whole map of the Middle East changes, and we'll all feel it at the pump, at the kitchen table, and beyond. Either way, this isn't over. Not even close. Here's what I want from you. Tell me in the comments, which road do you think Iran takes? Do they save face and back down? Or do they make the mistake of going for the strait? I read all of the comments. I want to know where you land. If this broke it down in a way that actually made sense, do me a favor, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are trying to understand what's really going on. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now, because this story is moving fast. And when Trump's next move drops, you do not want to be the last one to find out. I'll see you in the next one.